Hi friends, I just wanted to talk about chronic, undiagnosed, untreated Lyme. So, in 2002, I worked at a retreat center in upstate New York in what's called a Lyme endemic net area. And so there was like 12 staff a month that summer in 2012 that had the Lyme lesion, what's known as the bullseye rash, also known as EM, something like erythema migrans, and it just basically looks like a bullseye. And at the time even they said that the rash was from antibodies that reacted to the tick sting, because ticks sting, they don't bite. Anyway, so it kind of like didn't really sink in, but so if you have antibodies, that means you have a previous exposure. Like the only way your body makes antibodies is from a previous reaction to an exposure. So, being that I had had the lesion, it means that I had had a Lyme exposure. And not only that, but Lyme comes with a bunch of co-infections. So there's Bartonella, there's Babesia, there's plasmas, there's even, I'm going to call it YP, but it's like the plague. There's just a bunch of other what's called co-infections that kind of piggyback along with Lyme. And So in 2005, I started having like some real severe health issues, and so I was just like, oh, okay, I'm feeling so tired, and I always kind of knew that Lyme could have been a culprit, and I brought it up to doctors and. Anyways, but I pursued the adrenal angle, and I have been since about. So I concluded that I had what's the taboo phrase, adrenal fatigue. I thought I had that in 2008. Anyways, it was around 2009 or maybe 2010 that I was I've been at. OHSU, and I was seen by an endocrinologist who basically told me, oh, I just need to see a therapist. I get a whole lot of women that are just like you. And I had told him about the Lyme, and he referred me to an infectious doc who said that I seemed to have the signs for fibromyalgia, and that I had orthostatic hypotension, but somehow we never got around, or we did do a Lyme test, and so the CDC's standard for Lyme is you have to have like 5 of the markers, and I had 3, and so they brushed it off. They were like, you should feel happy, and I'm like, okay, and I didn't know enough about Lyme, and I just didn't have it in me to figure it out, because it's really complicated, especially when you have health issues. Anyway, I left OHSU because I was just like, these doctors, it's just too demoralizing, so I went to Providence in Portland, Oregon, and in 2012 I asked the doctor there, hey, I want to do my Lyme test because I'm just having a really bad time, and I didn't think to mention it because I thought it was just a fungus infection, because I've always had fungus infections. Well, apparently fungus infections can indicate Lyme. Like it can be actually a Lyme lesion. So, oh my goodness. And I had an exposure to a cat that was a kitten. It was a stray kitten that was sick. And I got sick after my roommate brought it in the house, and I sat on the same chair, and I started getting like a rash, and it spread. Like, it covered probably a quarter of my body. And, you know, I was just doing everything I could to mitigate it, and it seemed like moving to a drier climate helped. But maybe I was just getting reinfected. The 6 years that I was living where I had the rash, and it was in Oregon, and so sorry, I'm just trying to gather my thoughts here. So anyways, when I was at Providence in Portland, the doctor there, she was like, she discouraged me from getting the tests because she was like, there's nothing we can do about it. And it just takes so much to navigate the medical system, to navigate the psychological abuse, the active, direct onslaught, the violence that doctors do, and that everybody's giving them a pass. I just do not understand it. Everybody keeps telling me doctors have it really hard. They have to fill out 3 hours of forms for every 15-minute patient. And I'm like, okay, 3 hours of forms, that's horrible, But, like, if they're not sick, it just sucks, it's just boring. But, like, when you're sick, when you're in pain walking, when you're in pain just in bed, when you're in pain because you can't even lift the covers, when you're in so much distress you can't get along with everybody, when there's all this wreckage in your life because of freaking undiagnosed disease that these doctors are bent on hiding from you. Like, there's like 6 times more lives than there is AIDS. Now, and the thing is, like, something I heard somebody say is, Lyme won't kill you, but it makes you wish you were dead. And it's so true. There's so many people with undiagnosed chronic infection, whether it is the Borrelia, Brucella, Bartonella, Babesia, or any of the hundreds of other ones that are out there. And some people are able to adapt to it. They have enough structures and a personality type that they're able to make it work. They're able to navigate being chronically ill. But some of us didn't get those tools, and we're like the casualties. And personally, I think doctors want us to suffer. Personally, I think Big Pharma wants us to suffer. I think the so-called medical industry wants us to suffer. I think the government wants us to suffer. Who else am I missing? But I think they feed off of our suffering because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Even the thought of like that it's saving money. No, it doesn't make sense because there's other logical, practical ways to save money and provide the care that people need. And it's not happening. Like we are living in this like kind of insane, impractical, inefficient system of cruelty, and this like culture of cruelty. And it's so weird because it's clearly like people are doing this Darwinian thing, like survival of the fittest kind of thing. And what I don't get is like these people whose behaviors, whose actions clearly demonstrate they're into this like survival of the fittest thing. Like, but then in one breath, like they won't let you cross the street when they're driving, and they don't feel like they have any responsibility to like right away or fairness, but in the next breath they're going to talk about like recycling or the environment or global warming or some volunteer thing that they're doing, you know, some save the world or good works that they're doing. And I'm like, if you're part of, you know, like if you're abusing people, and I consider drivers who don't let a pedestrian cross the street, that's abuse. That's abuse. And like the whole city, Missoula, is like totally like they don't know that pedestrians get to cross the street. Like you have to, like, every pedestrian is pretty much a traffic cop. And it's just a big mistake to be here, unless you're from here and you're rich. So anyways, finally though, it's like 2019, I started this whole process of trying to get retested in like 2010. So it's like 19 years in the Providence system, you know, with health insurance. And what was interesting is the doctor wanted to test for AIDS before he would test for Lyme. Like, so, you know, he didn't ask about my background. You know, I told him, like, I would live in all these Lyme endemic areas, Massachusetts, New York City, New York State, you know, and it's just like, it's so rude. It's just, and you know, they want you to suffer, they want you to die, they want you to do yourself in, and that's what I think doctors want. I think that's what the system wants. And you know, they're definitely they're just horrible. And I know that, you know, from talking to other people on YouTube and Facebook, I know there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who feel the same way, who know exactly what I'm talking about and relate. And then there's like these people, these like protected, self-satisfied, privileged people who are like, you just have a bad attitude. I mean, and some of those are my friends, some of those are my family, who have actually experienced some of the crimes against humanity. But somehow it's like there's this Stockholm syndrome where they're like, we have to love the person who's abusing us because they are giving us our livelihood somehow, but they're not. They're taking away my health, you know, my ability to ambulate and whatever. But it's just the weirdest. It's like we live, like there's some weird paradigm thing that we're in, and I feel like, you know, it's been going on for a long time, but I feel like it's I mean, and maybe I'm just realizing it, maybe it's nothing new, maybe it's just I'm just getting a clue, maybe I've been naive all this time, but for whatever reason it is, I just wanted to, on one hand, I'm just glad that I'm beginning at least to get some information, and of course, you know, I've only gotten like I don't know, maybe eight of the species on the list tested for today, and we know that there's like dozens of possibilities. But I'm hoping that I can use the labs, like the white blood cell indicators, and kind of see how the protocols that I'm doing, if that makes any difference. So like at this time I'm doing a topical application of magnesium, taking cat's claw tincture, red root, andrographis, I believe is the one, and doing some zinc and some amino powder, and doing some CBD oil, and that just seems to help cope with like the emotional distress of just like of all the stuff that's going on, but also just like when your body's not working well, there's like this chronic irritation. So I've been trying that, and and I'm doing milk thistle. So we always have to help our liver out. So I'm taking that with meals, along with ox bile. And that's another thing that I'm learning, is that we have to help our bile duct. So our liver and our bile duct is like, it seems to be like the linchpin to the whole autoimmune, or the whole lymph system, at least. Because if our lymph isn't flowing properly, it's like, so there's, we always, you always hear about skin brushing, or sweating, and I think those are great, but for those of us who don't have those, or don't have the strength to implement those, like taking some ox bile and milk thistle, I think it's definitely doable. So anyways, thank you for watching, and share below about your experiences trying to get your diagnoses for Lyme or the co-infections, and what worked for you, and what worked for me is just I just kept on watching YouTube videos, and just making a list of the species that I thought was what my symptoms seemed to indicate. So God bless you all. May the Lord Jesus Christ protect us all and bless us all, and may heaven be on earth soon. Thank you. Bye.